Toxic Avenger movie. Now, originally, I think this was Trauma who did this in the '80s or something like that, and I, my
It was.
most, my most sort of like took the most interaction I've had with Toxie, which is what he's called, the Toxic Avenger, is in a TV show called Toxic Crusaders. Yet another cartoon. I watched a lot of those. I still do watch a lot of those. Yes, yeah, but so tell us about this, the Toxic
Oh,
Avenger,
okay, yeah.
unrated.
So the Toxic Avenger, there was years '80s thing, Troma, the film
Yeah,
company, which was really, really trashy and not particularly very good. And I
that that
actually seem
that's
to
what
remember
trauma stands
way
for.
back then. I didn't really bother with the Troma stuff because I just found it too like I don't know.
It was gross and low rent.
Gross and low rate. So this, yeah, exactly. So this is I mean, I'll tell you the story and then we get things. So basically, you've got Peter Dinklage. He works at this factory that Kevin Bacon owns. Kevin Bacon turns up like
Of course, Kevin Bacon turns up.
Kevin Bacon. He's like in the X-Men film when he played that Bring of the Hellfire Club as well.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I think they played
Sebastian Shaw.
on Sebastian Shaw. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, and Peter Dinklage is he's looking after a stepson. He's got a stepson that he looks after, and he works as just a janitor really in this waste factory that just pollutes everything. And he ends up. He goes. The doctor says, "Oh, you're going to die soon. You've got about 3 months." And it's a comedy anyway. So, so what happens? Yeah, I know that sounds really good, but the doctor's just like really funny. He goes, "Oh well," and I've seen the doctor in some. I've seen the doctor. He's like but I can't remember. Anyway, so basically, what happens is he gets caught up. He gets caught up in a bit of trouble in the there's a lady journalist that breaks into the factory and he's in the factory at the time and he sort of gets mixed up a little bit and he gets killed and they say, oh, get rid of the body, and they chuck him in the toxic waste, and of course he becomes this toxic
Mutant.
avenger with a and it's like his mop is a like a magic wand, like a Gandalfy thing that when he touches people with it, they sort of dissolve and their heads sort of fall off or have big gaps and you see the teeth all falling out. So it's very, very over the top, totally, totally over the top. And but really, really good fun. As I say, I hadn't because obviously not knowing being a secret screening.
Yeah.
So this was a real surprise, but it was very, very bloody and very, very stupid. And they have like there's like a couple of people talking on the news and that, and one's obviously a misogynist, and he's like, oh, they've changed Mr. Burger to Miss Burger and all that.
Yeah.
Um, and that is really, really funny because what I like to look at. So there's a one of the scenes takes place at this burger joint called Miss Miss Meat. Miss
Yep.
Meat it is. And all the adverts are all like very, very suggestive and like, all
Yeah.
that. Anyway, but you can use your imagination on that one. But Miss Meat, and it's like, oh, the big, have a big one of these, or you know,
Sounds very Paris Hilton in the noughties where they had the
yeah,
Paris
yeah,
Hilton
yeah.
yeah, burger
So,
ad, yeah.
and of course, so a scene, he becomes a little bit of a hero, and then they decide, obviously, Sebastian Shaw or Kevin Bacon or whoever he's called, decides that he needs a bit from, they got to capture him and get he's got all these mad scientists with glasses and stuff, and he says, "Oh, I need a solution." And so, of course, he becomes a sort of, and then there's this big final confrontation between the pair of them. And
The whole idea behind the Toxic Avenger to begin with was always kind of like a messed up take on a superhero film. It
basically, is a
was,
mess. Yes, exactly. You nailed it in one toast. It's a
and I,
mess
and I,
taken on a tip, but there is lots of nods in this too. And I think probably to the original one, not that I can talk much about the one way back then, but I think with like, I mean, you know, the Kevin Bacon character when he sort of transforms, should we say? It's like a mixture. It's just
yeah,
like
well, I feel like that's not a spoiler to say that the bad guy eventually
no, not a
goes,
spoiler.
"There's a good guy. I kind of created him. I want some of that." So yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah, and it's
yeah.
not quite perfected, so there's a few quirky bits, but this was really, really, really good fun. I had a really, really good time with this movie, much better than I thought I would. As I say, I don't mind the stupidness if they know it's stupidness.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really, really silly. So I sat there. I went with Happy John, and Yeah, I had a really, really good time with this movie, and it's worth a watch. I mean, it's not everybody's cup of tea because it's very, very bloody with heads falling off and people getting sliced and
Yep,
some
yep.
teeth and just,
And
you
the
know,
Toxic Avenger looks quite gruesome. Let's be
yeah, and
honest.
he's quite
It
gruesome
looks
as
quite
well. And
gruesome.
he
Yeah.
can take his, well, no, that's a spoiler. So, but I suppose it's not really. But, so I'm going to tell you anyway. But like, he can take his eye out or one of his eyes to sort of, so see what's going on. Yeah, no, really, really good fun. And I'm going to give this one. I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't agree with me, but I'm going to give this one a 4 star as well. I really, really had good fun with this. I had good fun.
4 stars for the Toxic Avenger. Question: did you recognize Elijah Wood?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's like, yeah.
He looks like a, because I've seen the posters and he looks like a cross between Uncle Fester from the Addams Family
Yeah,
and Danny
yeah.
DeVito's Penguin from
Oh, yeah,
Batman
yeah. Danny
Returns.
DeVito's Penguin, and also Grima Wormtongue out of he's sort
Yes,
of
yeah, out of the
Grime-
oh yeah,
and yeah,
yeah, he does look like that. Yeah,
and the band that are like the Assassins. There's a funny bit in that. There's like one has got like a chicken head and one that had, yeah. It's really, really magically over the top. Really over the top. Terrific.
sounds like you're speaking my language. Magically over the top. All right, magically and knowingly over the top. I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, knowingly over the top.
All right, cool. So